guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? It is not Friday, it's Wednesday. But welcome, everybody. I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back, guys. Yay! Good to see you guys. I started a couple minutes early, always thinking I can, you know, give a little bit of backstory before we get started. So, welcome, everybody. You guys do me a favor. I'm sure you hit the like button. If you haven't, please do. Make sure you click the notification bell to get all notifications. Subscribe if you haven't, and get a membership if you can, guys. Welcome. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Carrie. You made it at the beginning of a show. What's up, my friend? Are you off work today? Good to see everybody. Sadie's mama, Nikki, Brenda, Wendy, Edith, One Love. What's up, guys? We're coming on. I came on just a bit early. I wanted to talk about justice for Madeline Soto and what the people on that side that are running that do for Maddie, and keeping her name out there. A lot of local people are there. They just got the bench put in. So I'm just so proud of the Justice for Madeline Facebook group and what they do. I just want to show you a couple pictures on there. And as I was looking at that, I also noticed the topic of discussion is weighing heavy on probably your minds as well as theirs. Today we're talking about, well, it's called Maddie Was Missing, right? Now she is no longer with us, but at the time, did they really need a search warrant, guys? We're going back and forth here. Detective Tagler claims she handed the phone over to Stephan. That's what we're talking about today. And we're going to talk about that along with, of course, aggregating factors and exigent circumstances. All right. When you have those circumstances and factors that go along, the bottom line is Maddie was missing and they really needed to find her right away. They didn't know if she was alive or dead at that time. So that comes into play. Do you really need a search warrant when you ask someone, can I see your phone? What's your password? You're logged in. And how's the judge going to rule that? How's it going to affect things? What will it really affect? What's up, everybody? Good to see you, Mel. Good to see everybody. Crystal. Also, another thing, I don't know if you guys were watching today, but Keimani Latigue's alleged murder was in court today. They did a live stream. It was really hard to hear, but Darnell Ogletree Jones, or Darnell Jones, the person that allegedly took Keimani Latigue's life, is a monster, you guys. He's a monster. We've seen Darnell get shot by the police, pull his gun out and try to shoot at the police. He wanted to be dead. He got shot, went to the hospital. He's already confessed to what he did, and yet he's in court today pleading not guilty. I mean, there's just so many monsters out there, you guys. So we're going to keep covering the Keimani Latigue case, justice for Keimani. Tomorrow is Corey Michelo's birthday. So I'm going to throw in an episode of the monthly letter from Rebecca. and we're going to celebrate Corey Michelow's birthday in heaven, obviously, tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to have Toddy 1. We're going to have Rebecca and myself tomorrow for Corey Michelow's birthday. All right. Yeah. Carly, well, good to see you here, Carly. The audacity of that dude. He's sitting there, his hair's growing back because he shaved it to get rid of evidence, in my opinion. He pulls his GUN out, the cops get shot, confesses, does all these things. The house gets burnt down, and this guy's over there pleading not guilty. All right. Just absolute. I mean, I wish him the harshest sentence that he can get. Now, he could be facing the death penalty, although I'm not sure exactly if they're going to go for that yet. I do believe they have it in, is that in Ohio? I do believe they have that, but yeah, I just, yeah, Marlene, and it's worse than just taking her life. Not only did he take her life, but he SA'd her, as well as he might have been doing that before that probably wasn't the first time, and then he almost decapitated and took her hands with him, you guys. So this guy is a monster. So justice for all the children. Christopher Greger took Corey Michelow's life, and we saw it. We saw what led to him passing, which was the treadmill incident, you guys, over and over and over. All right, so justice for Corey and Keimani and Sebastian and Madeline and all the other children, which we're going to get to more coverage of other cases next week. This week we've got Corey and then Maddie. All right, Ramona, good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Welcome, everybody. All right, so now that I got that in, let me go over here to this page quickly and just share the Justice for Corey page. They do good things over on that page now. Justice for Corey has 20,000 people over there, 20.4 thousand members. You do need to be invited into the group, or you can ask to be in, and they'll let you in if you say the right things. It's a private group, so Justice for Corey Michelow, we'll look at that again tomorrow. That group is fantastic. I see them working over there day in and day out on things, on justice for other children, justice for Corey, and they're constantly spinning their wheels trying to figure out how they can do better, right? All right, so Bree is awesome. Bree Michelow is currently doing big things on TikTok. You should go follow her. It's called @JusticeForCorey. If you're on TikTok, please, she's doing really good things over there. I love what they're doing here. And just love them. Love Bree and Rebecca. Rebecca's our girl. All right. So that is what I wanted to show you. And then we'll go to the Justice for Madeline Soto page, and you could take a look at what people are worried about this. They're worried about, I believe, which is a technicality. I believe that the filing of the motions for the Stephan Stearns trial, I really think they're all technicalities. It's things they have to put in place as a defense, guys. All right. So it's gonna happen. We're gonna go through all these different motions, and I don't mean any pun intended. All right. No pun intended. We're gonna go through the motions of the trials, getting pushed out over and over again. We're gonna go through a lot. So we want this to be as swift as possible and get justice for Maddie and, of course, all the children. What's up, Jess? Good to see you, my friend. Wendy, this is why I'm covering this today. I see so many people that are nervous. Now, this decision may not come. They have until June 30th. So we're sitting here on the 30th of, what are we in, May right now? April? I don't even know what we're about to be. We're on the 30th, all right? We're on the 30th. And it's we're almost in May already. We're just about there. All right. So we've got 2 months to worry about this. You don't want to worry about that. We want to put faith into the justice system and into the prosecution that they're going to continue this case, and we're going to get justice for Madeline Soto. All right. Let's keep going. I'm not sure if you guys can't hear something. I have no idea why you can't hear Sugarfoot. I'm loud and clear. Smoke and mirrors. And if you guys are new if you're new to trials and you're new to all this true crime and the justice process, just relax, put that energy towards changing things for these children, and don't worry about the smoke and mirrors. Perfectly said, Ashton. Good to see you. Yeah, tomorrow's May 1st, so we have all the way until June 30th. All right, so today's the 30th. We have all the way 2 more months until the prosecution will know, and we'll know if the motions are going to be denied. Okay, so don't worry about that. Let's go over it and then we'll wait for that. So I see with Justice for Maddie, they've got 12,000 members. They're going strong. All right. It's a private group. You guys should go over there, check that out if you haven't. And you can see they're constantly posting on here. And here's the first post that comes up. It says, so Stephan Stearns wants the evidence from his computer data thrown out, Google account. Now, what? Now we're talking about his computer. So she says, correct me if I'm wrong. A warrant was obtained. It absolutely was obtained for the computer and all of the other things. All right. So it gets a little confusing when you look at things like this, and then they have a judge to rule on cell phone and Madeline Soto evidence. All right. That's coming, guys. That's coming. It's coming, and it's got 2 months. What's up, my Leo twin? Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here, Sharon. My flowers are almost ready to go out the door, but I love what you put in the flower pot, or what you used as a flower pot with that happy cup. So every day I go look at that cup and I smile because it's a big smiley cup. So thank you, Sharon. I hope that you're getting better every day from the shingles. All right. All right. So now on the CSAM, Jody says if you get the death sentence, you shouldn't get an appeal. They automatically appeal, Jody. It's automatic, especially on a death penalty case. It automatically is going to appeal. That's just part of the justice system. If we get used to the justice system being that way, then we can relax a little bit. And in the meantime, put our energy into something positive, which is making changes for those in Florida and for the other children, rather than putting energy into worrying about what's going to happen. All right. So let's try to do that together. Justice for Maddie. There are 222 people. Say a prayer for Maddie that she gets complete and utter justice, and that we don't that Jen Soto gets arrested and she does not get through this. All right. I don't know what you guys are talking about, not believing in HIPAA. I have no idea. But we already know that Sharon let us know that she has shingles and she wants good vibes sent out to her. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Absolutely. You guys that just rolled in, hit the like button. It's free to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not, and get a membership if you can, as well as if you have the means to gift memberships, please do. I'll gift some here in a little bit. All right. Thank you, Annabella. That's great. I'm confident he's not getting out of this. I really, truly think that this is going to be just another technicality, and it's going to pass through, and we're going to continue. All right. Yeah. Sharon, we already talked about it. We all know. All right. I would never have said that had she not said that in the last episode, because Sharon is actually one of my friends, not the cyber things going on. So yes, good vibes to you. He choked her to keep her asleep because the meds would wear off, and he had to keep a piece of meat that he would use her and tell her he's having dreams, and she felt the change in. Yeah, that's a possibility. Justice for Maddie. Justice for Maddie. It's all a possibility, all right? All of that. So judge there, everybody on this platform is worrying about it, and I get it. This ruling on a cell phone evidence is different than the computer access, all right? Which, by the way, they did a search warrant. They crossed their T's and dotted their I's, folks. All right. So then there's another one here. Here's another one talking about the motive, which I truly don't believe about. I don't believe the birthday money was it, but I'm not going to, Amanda in this group, I don't want Amanda to think I'm downplaying what she's saying. I just don't think the birthday money would have been a motive. I think jealousy was the motive. All right. So then we got some more posts that people are really worried, and they're really concerned about this right here. So there's another station, Law and Crime, that is covering Detective Tagler and what she did what she did. All right. So lots of concerns. Thank you, Sharon, for the love. We all love you back. All right. Yeah, it was definitely we're gonna go through this, and hopefully at the end of this you guys will feel a little better about it. So we've got lots of media sources that go through. Today we're going to use the court TV documentation, not the law and crime one, but a lot of people are worried about it. There's Nancy. What's up, my girl? If you see the show, there you are. Nancy was at the courthouse when Stephan and when he was there last week with the hearing and all that. So these girls are doing they're doing their part in the justice for Maddie by getting out there and doing something positive. They're not sitting behind a keyboard and just trash talking. They're actually out there. And then again, this is great. When I see something like this, and I see these ladies out there putting their best foot forward with each other in front of the bench with the police officers looking to find justice and make changes. It's amazing. It's amazing. So we want to thank those ladies. We want to thank those ladies for all that they do. Thank you, Jenny and crew and everybody that's involved in that. They look so beautiful here. Look at that. I don't know half of these people there, but those are the people that are making the difference in the Maddie case and in cases for others. You can see it back there. Sexual violence. And I don't read that. I don't read Spanish, but you can, if you read it, you can see what it's for, right? And they're the Hispanic and Spanish culture, and which is huge in Florida, by the way. You guys know that now. There it is. It's the April is SA Awareness Month. All right. So there it is, guys. Welcome everybody. Good to see you, Lucky. Good to see you. Yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot to go through. It's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to age quite a bit of people. All right. All right, Nikki, prayer for you. Again, I never want to blurt out what you guys are going through, but if we're talking about it in chat, then, I'll address it here. So welcome. Prayers to you. Everybody send her good vibes. All right. So remember what April is the awareness for. And this is it right here. Greetings. Hope you all have a blessed day. Today's will be participating in panelists from Hispanic Summit against SA or S violence, expanding upon Maddie's case and community needs in relation to SA and CSAM. All right. So they're doing a great job out here. They're getting out there and they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. Okay. All right. So let's pull this down. You guys go over to that and check that out yourself. I'm going to pull this up and then we're going to talk about what I'm saying in the exigent circumstances and the aggravating factor. And I'm only talking about one aggravating factor in this case. Just right now, I'm talking about this one aggravating factor, which refers to the circumstances, in this case, surrounding a crime that is sufficient to raise the severity and the punishment of the aggravated version of the offense. So an aggravating factor is laid out by the statute, and it varies depending on the jurisdiction and underlying offense. Now, Florida weighs heavily on that. And you know what the aggravating factor in this case is? That Maddie was missing, you guys. Maddie was missing. They didn't know if she was dead or alive at this point, guys. And so you need to do whatever you need to do. Stephan was there. He was the last person to see her alive. Jen was pushing him. She said, give your phone up, give it. You don't want to look guilty. All right. So that's a huge factor for Maddie going missing, not knowing if she's dead or alive. Do they really need a search warrant to do what Detective Tagler claimed to do, which we watched it on the body cam? All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Let's get into this. So the aggravating factor here, and I'm just telling you about one, was Maddie was missing. All right. Now, an exigent circumstance is such as if a police, like, for example, the police can run into a building without a warrant when there's people in the building that are in imminent danger. If they believe someone's in there dying, they don't need a warrant to go in there. All they have to do is suspect that there's a felony happening and that they can go in there and stop that. All right. It has nothing to do with the fourth Amendment protecting a cell phone. It has to do with that plus an aggravating factor, and in this case, an exigent circumstance. All right. So you have two things weighing against this one thing about the Fourth Amendment. If they believe a crime is being committed right now, they're going to go barge in and take care of it. If they believe that this little girl's whereabouts are on this guy's phone, then guess what? They're going to go on his phone and make sure they're able to find her. So I believe those circumstances were in place, you guys. So that kind of weighs out some of those factors. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why when people are so worried, I'm like, just think about what was happening at the time, not just necessarily about that one thing that we keep focusing on. Well, they didn't particularly have a warrant, but now we're going to listen to why she believes what she did was reasonable, right? All right, let's get into it. And I'll come back. I'll talk about it again. Again, an exigent circumstance isn't like a police officer running into someone's house when someone calls and says, "Hey, this guy's in this house and he decapitated this person and he's continuing to harm them and there's children in the house." If police believe that somebody is in imminent danger and a felony is being committed, they're going to go in and take care of it. And that's what I believe happened in this case.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
No objection.
These and Bravo will be received as stated.
Can I have just a moment?
All right, let me go back for a second. It started
Yes.
right out.
Your Honor, this time the state is seeking to introduce an evidence left to mark B for identification and evidence is stated.
Be a composite exhibit with both recorders.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No objection.
These and Bravo will be received as stated.
Can I have just a moment? No other questions.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Detective. So your interactions with Stephan Stearns, they were audio recorded, right?
Correct.
Okay, they weren't video recorded?
No.
All right, so let's listen to this together, have a conversation. I will be looking at chat to see what you are saying, if you have questions that I can answer, or just to discuss this. Thank you, Sharon, for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships that I just donated because you wanted to donate memberships. I appreciate you. And thank you, Fossey, for the 420 Guilty of Crime membership. Thank you, Goldilocks. I appreciate that. All right. I appreciate you guys all, everybody that shares in our passion for justice and why we're here to be a voice for the families and the victims that can no longer be there, you guys. All right. So for all of you for being that, thank you guys. And yeah, high five to, I'm not sure how to say it, but Rogue Rose, thank you for being here. Welcome. Faith and Repentance. Good to see you, my friend. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Hashtag justice for Madeline. What's up, Michelle Allender? Good to see you. Patricia NYC. What's up? Shout out to Vermont, by the way. Earlier, I got a shout out from Vermont. And Rouge Rose, or yeah, I guess I'm saying it right. Got a membership. Awesome. All right, let's keep going.
And let's paint that picture. When you arrived on scene, you said that it was you and another detective present, right?
Correct.
Actually, I think it would have been 3 detectives, right? You, Acosta, and Hunt?
Hunt was already on scene. Detective Acosta and I arrived later.
Okay, so 3 detectives now on scene.
Correct.
Okay. And alongside those detectives, you said that they were patrol deputies, right?
Yes.
From the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I don't recall if it was us or Kissimmee.
Okay. Were they wearing uniform?
Yes.
Did they have
And I really wanted to focus on this part because I was getting lost in that long 3-hour, hearing that they had. And I was like, this is perfect. Which again, on Friday, we are going to talk about Jen Soto and why we think she hasn't been charged. Part of those circumstances. Yes, you got it. clutching at, yeah, clutching at straws from the defense, anything they'll do for the client, but I bet it'll be ruled out by the judge. Thank you. And like I said, it matters about aggravating and exigent circumstances. All right. Yeah. Detective Tagler, props to her. When Jen Soto gets arrested, we've got to have a huge celebration of some sort. I'd love that, guys. I would actually really, truly love to meet as many of you that I can. At some point, I'd love to go to CrimeCon and just meet as many people as can go. All right. I love to do that. And things are looking that way as the channel grows. So thank you guys for the support. Let's get into it, because I want to talk to all of you. All right.
Their badges?
Yes.
Did they have their guns?
Yes,
Did you have your gun?
I did.
And did you have their badge?
I did.
Okay. And when you arrive on scene, you said that you first went to talk to Detective Hunt, right?
Yes,
Okay. And then afterwards, at one point you start talking to Stephan Stearns, right?
yes,
Okay. And this is outside of his house
correct.
because he's not allowed to go inside his house at this point, right?
Not at this point. The house was not secured.
Right. And when you're talking about security, that's for securing for searching the house, right?
Correct.
Okay. So the deputies are making sure that he's not going back inside his house, right?
Nobody's doing that.
Okay. So at what point, let me ask you this one. How did he get outside of the house?
I don't know. I wasn't there when he was outside.
To your understanding, how did he get outside?
I'm not sure.
The law enforcement told him to?
I wasn't there.
Okay. And when you're talking with him, at no point did you say, you can go back inside, right?
I did not.
At no point did you say,
I'm telling you right now, Tagler had her radar strong, and people were already talking about how Jen was reacting to Maddie being missing. There were several factors. I'm only bringing one to your attention, which is huge. Maddie's missing. We don't know if she's alive. And this man that I'm talking to, his phone was erased. He's got another phone. What am I hearing? What's going on? I need to get this phone right away before the evidence of where this little girl might have been, before it's gone. Right? Yes. Thank you, Patricia. Ding, ding, ding. And aggravating factors. Both. And he consented.
you're free to leave, you can drive away, right?
I did not.
Actually, and you kept him from going inside his own vehicle, right?
I did.
Because that was being secured for searching too, right?
At that time, I just asked him to refrain from going back in his vehicle.
Okay, so you didn't even tell him it was for search?
Not at that time. I wasn't sure what we had at the moment.
Yes, they didn't.
And then,
You guys, they were not looking on that phone for CSAM. They were not looking for CSAM, you guys. They did not think they were going to find something of that extent whatsoever. I think they might have thought, well, maybe there's like a Google Maps to where he went, or maybe I'm going to find a picture of Maddie, doing something this morning. They had no clue what they're getting into. There's no way this lady logged into his phone thinking that she was going to find what she found. All right. And you can tell in what she's saying, she didn't know what she had. She had no idea what she had. All right.
when you're talking with Mr. Stearns, you kind of give us general overview that you said that he consented to searching his phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. Your specific question to him at first, going through the timeline, is do you mind if I look at your maps real quick, right?
Correct.
At no point did you say, do you mind if I dig through your entire phone at this point, right?
I did not.
Okay. And then when you get to the next question, it's do you mind if I take a picture of your history, right?
Yes.
Okay. Not take a picture of his lock screen?
No.
Not take a picture of his home screen?
No.
Not take a picture of his call history?
It was his history.
Not take a picture of his emails?
I did not.
Not take a picture of the entirety of his phone, just his history, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then when you get to the next thing, you say, is it okay?
And I really do believe that Jen Soto was much more confident than Stephan was about the deletion and the reset of his phone. When I go back and I watch the case again and I listen to Jen talk about nothing, and just deflecting, fake crying, fake emotions, and then no emotions. She was actually the one that said, just give him your phone, dude. She said it again when she was talking to the officer when they sat in the car. Why are you asking for it back? You're just going to look guilty. And, wink, wink, we already reset the thing earlier. We've got this script. Stick to it. No clue that was going to happen. I absolutely believe they both cleaned their phones as well. And that's why Jen was so certain that just give me your phone, dude. Just give me your phone. Right. When Tagler had the phone, they had looked at the condo's video. That's a good question. Did they look at the condo video, the condo's video of them throwing or him throwing away her stuff? I'll leave that up for a moment. I don't want to say yes, but probably.
Make sure that's right. Is it okay if I go in your settings real quick? I just want to see if you're logged onto your Google,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And at that point, Mr. Stearns tells you that he is not logged into his Google, right?
Correct.
Okay. But then you keep pressing her and then you say, is it okay if I check?
I asked, I didn't press.
Okay. You asked if it's okay you checked?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
And at that point, it was just to check whether he was logged into his Google, right?
Correct.
Not going through the entirety of his phone.
Correct.
You never asked him, can I go through the entirety of your phone?
He was standing next to me while I was on his phone.
Okay, so it's your
Okay, so that's some of the other circumstances. So there's a huge push behind what she did, and lucky, I think you're right. They were already investigating, and the stories didn't match the things he was saying and where he went, and it just wasn't. There were a lot of things that weren't adding up, and to this point, I do believe that they did see the video of him throwing it away. So if he was throwing her backpack and her things away, what was going on? That's what he was trying to figure out. And thank you, Maryland, almost to 24K. Let's double that and get to 50K this year and even bigger than that. All right. Guilt of what? Another instance of knowing. Yeah, Jen Soto. All right. I love Tagler.
Your basis that he has to say no, you can just keep digging until he says stop?
Correct.
Yes.
Really?
He was standing next to me and he saw what I was doing on his cell phone.
And did you ever ask him to go through the rest of your cell phone?
I did not.
Did you ever ask him to go into his call history?
I did not.
Did you ever ask him to go through his Google Drive on the phone, if it wasn't?
I never looked at his Google Drive.
Okay. But you were looking at the rest of his phone, right?
I looked at his call history and his Google Maps.
Okay, because you were trying to figure out that time.
Where was Maddie?
It's the only thing you were looking for at this point, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you ever go into the
All right. So she says she was looking for the timeline, guys. That's exactly what she's saying she was looking for. And thank you for calling that out earlier. That's because his timeline wasn't matching with anything. Jen's timeline and his timeline were similar. He was saying Jen was sleeping. Jen was saying she was sleeping, but she had a blood appointment and he was going here and he was going there. And if you're right, the person that just put that up, they would have already seen the video. Maybe. I'm not sure if that was that day or after of Stephan going and putting Maddie into the trunk in the hotel garage. If that's the case, then it's even more of a push. All right.
photos on his phone?
Yes.
While he was there?
Yeah, he was standing next to me.
Okay, did you ever ask him if you could go through his photos?
I did not.
Right. And when you're going through those photos, I mean, let's talk about that. How many of his photos did you look at?
I think it was maybe 2 or 3 of the day Madeline went missing.
Just to be clear, you're not just looking at like the big grid, you start going into actual pictures?
I don't recall if I actually clicked on any of the pictures
Okay, so how do you know that you were just looking at 2 or 3 photos?
because it has dates on, like if you look at the grid, it shows dates for pictures.
Okay, and at any point, I'm just rephrase, at no point did you ask him to look at his photos?
I did not.
Then you go back to his Maps app at some point, right?
Correct.
And at that point, you're talking to him about the Snug Street address, right?
Yes,
Okay, and you never asked him if he could go back to the Maps app at that point, right?
I did not.
Okay. And just to be clear, nothing is visually recorded at this point.
Correct.
So when you say that you handed him his phone back, you never actually said, hey, here's your phone back. Right?
No, she didn't. And we have everything on video, which is fantastic. Thank goodness for body cam. Thank goodness. But yeah, she's doing great. This defense lawyer is doing a really good job, I gotta admit. However, I'm glad he's doing a good job so that it doesn't open things up for an appeal. All right. That's what they need to do. And I saw that chat and I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. They need to do everything they can to preserve Stephan's innocent until proven guilty, all the things that all his defenses, or he'll go on an appeal and he'll get it overturned or a mistrial or whatever. And we don't want to do this over and over, guys. We just want to do this once and then get to the next trial and be done. Right? So we can spend our time on helping other children and other things. Right? All right, let's listen to her. I love her.
I did. I said, here you go.
Now, when you get the phone back from him, what do you say?
I said, can you please unlock your phone again?
Okay. And at that point, it was still you and Detective Acosta standing with him, right?
Correct.
Because you both are kind of tag teaming him, questioning him, right?
We're both talking to him.
Okay. Specifically, at what point did you say, here you go, when you handed him his phone?
Right before I stepped away.
Sure, here you go are your exact words.
I don't know if it was my exact words, but I did hand him the phone and I said, here you go. It's in the audio recording.
And there you go. I love her that she says it's in the audio recording. It's all there, dude. Great point. The exigency at the moment is the destruction of the evidence on the phone. Thank you. Another great point that he accidentally reset the phone and they wanted to make sure they preserve that in case they could find Maddie dead or alive. At this point, they didn't know. So great point. Thank you guys. Thank you, the crime crew, all of you guys for being here. I love how the men are starting to come strong in chat. That's just gross. Leather books, Stetson, spicy pickles, and sour fruit balls. What's up, Michael? Good to see you. All the guys in chat. What's up, man? Danny, how you doing, my friend? Love it. And thank you all that are here to support the channel. All right. Great points.
And then at this point, you said you got him to unlock his phone again, right?
Yes.
And that's when you started digging through his call history, right?
I'm not sure what I looked at when I had the phone back.
Well, you specifically said, I also noticed I was checking your call history. I noticed you don't have anything before this morning, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
And at no point did you ask if you can go into his call history?
I did not.
You took the phone from him, what time was that?
About 8, a little after 8.
8 at night?
Yes.
Okay. Just to make sure we're painting that picture clear too. 8 o'clock at night, you're speaking with him, right?
Correct.
About 50 to 60 degrees outside?
Correct.
Okay. And law enforcement's been standing around with Mr. Stearns outside?
He went to Jennifer's car after me and him spoke.
Okay.
Now, I do agree in another circumstance, in a separate circumstance, she should have. And again, I don't know what factors are starting to pile up now. If one of the factors is Maddie's missing and she may be dead or alive, and they saw Stephan moving Maddie into the trunk, and they saw him throwing away her backpack, and they knew that the evidence was going to be deleted, then at that time, then it didn't mean that Tagler needed to stop and say, hey, I need to get a search warrant right now. Because she did ask, she did say, hey, do I need to get a search warrant or can I take a look? Now, that was a very vague, broad statement. That was a broad statement, right? So, I mean, that's what we're fighting against right now. But there's a lot of things piling up on this.
Before you and him spoke?
I can't answer that question. I wasn't there.
Okay, when you first showed up, where was he?
Outside.
Outside where?
I don't recall the exact location, but he was outside with Jennifer.
Right, so you know exactly where you walked, but not where he was?
Correct. I walked towards Detective Hunt.
Now, at this point, you collect Mr. Stearns' phone away from him for the final time that he has his hands on, right?
Correct.
And when you take that phone away from him, you don't ask him for his phone, you take it from him, right?
I already had the phone.
Oh, right. And then you told him specifically that at this point, we're keeping your phone.
Correct.
Okay. Didn't give him a choice.
I said, I'm going to keep your phone. We want to download your phone.
Excuse me, what was the exact phrasing that you just said?
That we wanted to download the cell phone.
You said that during the first interview.
The second interview, not the first one.
Second. Talking about when you took the phone away from him, the first time, during the first interview. When did you tell him that you were going to download the phone?
The second time.
During the first interview, when did you tell him that you were going to download
The
it?
second time I spoke to him, not the first.
Yeah, and it wasn't even once, it was twice, Sharon. And also again, they did take Jen's devices. I believe they took both of their phones at some point, I think. Although I haven't seen paperwork, but I do know that they were tracking both of them. That's why there was a tracker on Jen's car. All right. So yeah, I mean, not once but twice. And I wish Jen Soto would like come out and speak. I wish she would have went to her daughter's vigil, the funeral, or any of that. But she does say that she encouraged Stephan to just give it up and not ask for it back. She said, do it, go ahead. She must have been confident.
First time.
You never said it first.
I did not.
Right. And then when you're talking with him that second time, you actually state to him, your exact words are,
Objection improper.
response?
Now, you're right. Had she got written consent, Lori, we wouldn't even be here for this motion to suppress evidence. And this can happen in other cases. Let's say an officer goes to someone's front door and somebody inside is saying, help, they're hurting me, they're trying to do this. And the officer just busts into the house and doesn't have a warrant, but they're like, I need to get in there to save this person. And let's say that they get in and save the person and no harm happens. Now this person goes to court for, let's say attempted red rum. And that person and the defense says, hey, that cop didn't even have a warrant to come in. Well, but we thought they were going to get hurt. Well, they didn't, did they? It was attempted, So, I mean, it just depends. Should she have done that to be safe when she said, hey, I can get a warrant if you want me to? And he said no and just hand it. She could have. Would she have lost evidence? Maybe. And we wouldn't be here right now, right? In defense of defense, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. In defense of defense, 50 degrees Fahrenheit is cold. All right. That's emergency exception. Yes. And I believe they felt that it was an emergency to find Madeline Soto. All right. So we're going to see MFAR. Trust me, I just want to bring people's worries down a little bit so that we can focus on other things. Because what's going to happen here is, well, it's what's going to happen, but I don't think it's too much to worry about.
I'll reverse it. When you speak with him, did you tell him that we had previously said that we were going to download the phone?
Yes.
Your interactions with him were recorded.
Correct.
And when you originally took the phone from Stephan Stearns,
Leslie Soto, do people attack you because you have the last name Soto? That's you don't have to answer that question, but it's funny because I think we saw you in chat yesterday and someone's like, Soto. That's a common name in the Florida area, I noticed. But yeah, I mean, Leslie's cutting and drying it right now. She said it's okay that I go through your phone, or do I need a warrant? He said no, it should be all right. Period. End of story. All right, let's keep going. Good comment. Sorry, Soto.
Mr. Stearns was concerned about staying in touch with his father, right?
Correct.
And that's the point where you told him, well, you can just talk to him through Jen's phone, right?
Yes.
And at no point was he asked to consent to seizing his phone, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
At no point did you ever give him any form or anything to consent to seizing his phone?
I did not. Everything's audio recorded.
Okay. And at no point did you ever get a form from him consenting to downloading his phone?
I did not.
Okay. Because everything's audio recorded.
Correct.
Got it. And you
Good.
collect the phone at 8 at night. It's about 1:30 in the morning you talk to him again.
It's not. It's about midnight.
About midnight, okay. 4 hours then?
Just about.
Okay. You have the phone in your possession?
It was in my vehicle.
Okay. Ever apply for a search warrant?
I wish he would, Maggie. I really do wish that he would come forward to his attorney with anything that he may have against Jen, that she was, she let it happen, she pushed it, or any of that, or she was helping in the morning to cover it up, and that's why it was so hectic. Whatever. I wish. I hope. All right. Eliza, I don't know how you say that, but thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Did good life for things, stupid games, and you stop and waste. Thank you. That's the justice system.
I did not. I didn't need, I didn't have enough information yet as to what we were doing with the case.
Elaborate on that for me. What do you mean you didn't have enough information?
We knew that something didn't sound right, as was speaking with him with the timeline and things like that. But we weren't sure exactly what we were doing yet. I was waiting for my supervisor to contact me.
Okay. And when your supervisor contacted you, did he or she, excuse me? Did he tell you to get a warrant?
He did not.
Okay. Did he tell you to try and get that cell phone download?
He did.
Okay. And how did he tell you to get that cell phone download?
He didn't. He just said we wanted to get the phone downloaded. And that's when I asked Stephan if I had his permission to download the phone or if I needed to get a search warrant.
Right. You gave him the ultimatum at that point, right?
I asked him 2 questions.
Okay. So we can either get the phone or you can get a warrant, right?
Remember, this hearing is all about some horrifically graphic, horrible pictures found on the cell phone of Stephan Stearns. He's saying that it was not done properly, that it's not admissible. Once it's suppressed, we're going to have more of the motions hearing for him after the break. Stay tuned.
No breaks here. No.
Cross-examination by the defense.
Now, at any point during these interactions, did you ever tell Mr. Stearns that he could have his phone back?
I told him his phone was going to be downloaded overnight and that he should probably get it in the morning.
Okay. And prior to the second interview, did you ever tell him he could have his phone back when you just took it?
I did not.
Okay.
That's true too, One Love.
At any point, did you ever apply for a search warrant to download Mr. Stearns' phone?
I did not.
Did any other detective?
Now, all these questions that we're posing or that we're talking about, the judge is going to take all of this and weigh it out. So, I mean, that's how he's going to come to the conclusion. It's not going to be because he doesn't like Stephan or he doesn't like what happened or he thinks the case is awful. He's going to take it and he's going to weigh it out. So, yeah, knowing that the majority of the cases are family members and, step parents or parents, and Tagler being on the force for 9 years, right. And maybe she did something wrong. Maybe the judge is going to say, don't do that again. Next time, make sure we don't know. How's that going to affect the case? There's a lot more evidence than that. All right.
No.
Okay, because you're relying on that consent, right?
He gave us consent to search his phone.
Yes, or no? Were you relying on the consent?
Yeah. How can we forget
He gave me consent.
Now, when you're speaking with him, you became aware that Mr. Stearns had taken medication, right?
Yeah, you guys should answer this question because so many people think that the judge may allow this suppression. And that's why we're even having this conversation today, because I go out and I look at the Facebook group for Maddie, of course, Madeline Soto, and you see the different threads going on and talks people having. And people are genuinely worried about this. They're genuinely worried. What you're saying is the truth. But if you're worried about it, just remember the aggravating factor, and they're starting to pile up. And see what the judge, how he's going to weigh it. And what other evidence? Think about what other evidence that the judge and the prosecution actually has in this case. Take that out, throw it out of here, throw the phone out. What else did they have?
He said he had the night before.
Okay, that was Advent?
Yes,
And he told you why he took that medication, right?
because he said he couldn't sleep and that he was very stressed and couldn't stop crying.
Right, and then he was also having panic attacks, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you knew that?
yes, the night before.
Why your question? During the first interview
Correct,
and the second?
correct.
Got it. You aware what Advent does?
I don't take Advent, so no.
Okay.
She's
You ever deal with anybody that taken Advent?
No.
She's like, bitch, I don't know about that.
As to Mr. Stearns, he was wearing flip-flops.
I think it's the thumb drive, not even the hard drive. I believe that they said the hard drive didn't have anything in it, but the thumb drive did. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. We've been talking about this. I just want to ease everybody's mind here and remember these are all technicalities. It's all what they need to do to make sure that they don't have a mistrial or something doesn't get overturned. So if you're not somebody that's always watching court TV like I am and many of these people, you might not know that. I love that about the potato. You guys keep asking about the potato and the potato's phone. Oh man, I just want these trials to start already. Just start.
Correct.
Khaki shorts,
Yes,
thin hoodie.
yes,
Told you he hadn't eaten all day, right?
yes,
Okay. And was prevented from going inside of, sounds like his vehicle, right?
his vehicle, correct.
Okay. And again, couldn't go inside his own house, or not his house, but the apartment.
Not at the time.
Okay. And
Who has to?
at what time, rephrase, at 2:40 in the morning on February 28th, you submitted his phone to the Orange County Sheriff's digital forensics unit, right?
I did not.
You did not?
No.
Who did?
Detective Acosta.
Okay, so Detective Acosta was now in charge of the phone?
Yes,
Okay. You guys ride in the car together?
we did not.
Oh yeah, it's going to be televised. I'm sure it's going to be televised. They already said, what are you talking about? A lot of people haven't heard about this case. I don't see any reason. This is Florida, chumba. This is Florida, baby. This isn't Florida. That's Florida. And Florida, man, the freedom of information and trials being televised it's the thing. So yeah, the potato definitely had a smartphone or two. Remember, she had her phone and Maddie's phone. You remember when law enforcement came to the door and he was asking questions, and then she went and got Maddie's phone, and we saw that you're going to move out, or you're telling me I need to move out when I'm 18. All right. So yeah, there you go. And they're going to use that. They will. Sometimes you can get off on things like that. Oh, I took too much medicine. I couldn't. And I told the officer, those things do work sometimes. All right. Yeah. You guys should take days off. I'm going to definitely have to do that too, because my phone will be blowing up.
So the phone was stored in your car at some point, right?
When we were talking, or when we were looking at the video, yes, it was in my vehicle.
When did you turn over the phone?
I did.
At the end of the night, after we secured the residence, which was around 1 a.m, Detective Acosta was waiting for the tow truck for Stephan's Lincoln. And that's when I handed him the phone because he was going to Central Operations and I was not.
Okay. Was that the last time that you had involvement with the phone?
Yes.
Okay. So after the handoff, nothing else, just to be clear.
In reference to, like, if I ever looked at the phone again?
Yeah.
Sure, I think it was like 2 days later.
Okay. So at that point, the phone's still in your law enforcement's possession?
Yes.
She's so serious. She ain't playing, guys. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you guys, hashtag take your meds. There you go. break up some of the everybody being so serious and all upset. Just remember, take your meds. Hashtag take your meds. All right.
Confirm?
Of course.
Yes.
No further questions.
Thank you. Redirect.
Defense mentioned that there were other law enforcement personnel that were at the apartment complex. During your interactions with Mr. Stearns, who was in the immediate area?
Just myself and Detective Acosta. Everybody was kind of just hanging out in the area.
They did say that at the end of it. Stephan said, "When am I going to get my phone back? I'm waiting for my dad to call," because remember, Jen had reached out to Chris and she said, "Hey, we need you to come down here. We need to get a hotel. They won't let us back in." And so Stephan wanted to talk to Chris, and Chris was going to call Stephan's phone. And Tagler said, "Oh, it's going to take a while, so why don't you use Jen? You can use Jen's phone." All right. So she did say that. She did absolutely say that. All right. And again, it's all perception. Some people are like, "Oh, she didn't do the right thing," or "She's completely just lying." The judge will decide that. All right.
Detective Tagler, I've got a question. When you
And
initially,
yeah, guys, it's true. The Fourth Amendment does. The Fourth Amendment is the constitutional law, and Tagler knows better. But will the circumstances that she was going through and the decision she had to quickly make, will that outweigh the Fourth Amendment? I ask you that, and then we wait and see, right? Then we wait and see. Yeah, and just so awful that she called Chris to pay for their hotel and who knows what else. I mean, it's to get a lawyer also. To get a lawyer. The man that was supposedly abusing your daughter and the last person to see anybody ever was with Stephan, and she says, "Hey, get a lawyer." And she spends the night in a hotel with him, right? She's so worried about Maddie.
interacted with Mr. Stearns, you indicated that you were going to take a photo of his history. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you take a photo of his history?
Yes.
Was that on your agency cell phone?
Yes.
Any follow-up questions based on that question? State.
No, Your Honor.
Defense? No. Thank you. Will the detective step down?
Yes, Your Honor.
Detective Tagler excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Detective Tagler
Thank you.
step down. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome now trial attorney jury consultant Wendy Patrick. Wendy, of course, thank you for being.
All right, now we get to talk about this a little, even though we already have. You guys do me a favor, chat. There's 429 people in here. I really hope that you guys are hitting the like button, subscribing, getting memberships, and don't forget, you guys help support the channel. So, super chat, super sticker, PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. Thank you guys. I don't know. I can't see if the links are being dropped. I know we have a couple of mods in and out today. So if you guys want to drop some links, that would be great. Yeah, Jen did throw up a lot of roadblocks and she was very determined to just play dumb. It worked for a little bit though. I don't know how far that's going to get her though. And thank you, Lorraine. I just got to remind you guys sometimes. isn't being an accessory after the fact a crime. They should have enough evidence to prove with all the potato lies. Well, we hope so, but you got to wonder, and many people say, why did they give Jen Soto immunity if she didn't need immunity and she wasn't guilty for anything? All right. We know better.
On with us this Friday. This is a hard case, and here's why. Because enough details were released, of course pictures not released, but details about what was in the photos found on Stephan Stern's phone to know that it's described as really graphic, horribly sexually inappropriate photos of a 13-year-old Madeline Soto. So when you know that, you think, well, of course these pictures need to come in because that's a crime in and of itself and child porn. But the reality is it could be an illegal search and seizure, rather, if he did not give them permission to access everything on his phone. And he's arguing he didn't. He's saying, I thought you were just going.
Oh, I know it's not full immunity, Sherry. Welcome. What I meant was, why did they give her any immunity for that one interview? There would be no reason to have immunity if you're a mother of a missing child and you're there to help find her and catch the person that did these things to her. Right. So yes, I do know. Absolutely. I've done so many episodes on immunity for Jen and why it's only a one-time queen of the day. All right. All right. Is your membership now defunct? What does that mean? What does that mean, girlfriend? What does that mean? All right. Hit the like, but not hard enough to break your screen. Thank you, Gemini. The real Gemini. Thank you, Rosie. I always appreciate you, my friend. She's like, choo choo. I always see the dollar sign in the train. Yeah, they were hoping that she would, maybe they were hoping she would drop some big fat lies that they could arrest her for. Maybe it was the opposite. But yeah, I think they really were hoping for her to say, you know what? I know where the cord, I know where the rope is that took Maddie's life, all right? Something that they can find, that she would point them to more evidence. And she didn't, all right? They do mention that. Jen actually mentions that. She talks about the GUN being inside of room number 4. She knew it was right in the top drawer. All right. So I remember them talking about that. She did lie, but of course she lied. Of course she lied. She kept using the same lies that she had been using. We could definitely pick that apart.
Going to look at Google Maps. That's all I said you could do.
There you go. There it is, guys.
He has to bolster that argument with evidence. It's sort of like asking for a jury instruction that you'd love to have, but you can't support. And that's what this hearing was about. It's about whether or not there was undue influence. Did they put him in such a coercive situation, exploiting the fact that he was having a panic attack or had Ativan the night before, that they overcame his will? That is a tough hill to climb. That's especially a tough hill to climb when you have a no-nonsense witness like this one that's basically just laying it out. Here's what I did. Here's what I didn't do. I was standing right next to him. He was watching everything I was doing on the phone, and he gave consent. If you have consent, you're good. Now, what the defense is arguing is, well, there may have been consent to some type of a search, but not consent to the completeness of the search, which is why they just went through all these questions regarding the scope of the consent. Now, it is also true that in some cases, law enforcement would say, well, let's also get a warrant, belt and suspenders. Let's make sure we cover all our bases. But if there's clear consent, it's not required.
And that is the rub. Was there consent or not? That's why the testimony is being presented. But as you listen and think, was there consent or not? You kind of think logically, knowing what is allegedly in all of these photos, so graphic can't be seen. And then you think,
thank you. And you guys just have to hit the like and comment to get a chance to win, people. I was going to say guys, ladies, people, everybody. A lot of people wonder how they can win membership, so they ask if I can give them one. I wish I could, but you just have to be active in chat in order to win a membership. So thank you more 1967 for the 5 guilty of crime memberships. Yeah, this is a discussion that the judge is going to have to weigh in on and make the decision.
Why would he have given consent to see that? It just doesn't seem like it makes common sense that anyone would agree, hand over that kind of evidence that would then be used against him.
Well, that's an argument that really is belied by the evidence here. And you and I have seen many cases where you think, here's somebody that's stopped in a car and has, a car full of drugs or a phone full of evidence. Why would they give consent? And, it's hard to get into the mind of somebody that did that. But the bottom line is, did it happen? And was it limited to whatever he consented to? Or did it go beyond the scope? And given what this detective just testified to, combined, Ashley, and this is important, combined with the fact that he's watching what she's doing. So you don't just have, I'm going to hand it over and I'm going to, give verbal consent. Remember, it's all audio recorded as they went back and forth during that cross-examination. But he's also watching to see what she's actually going to be looking at. And then the phone apparently gets handed back again. That's why I say it's a tough hill to climb. Not that there aren't plenty of cases where a judge may decide the search exceeded the scope of the consent. But the question here is.
And that's great. That's fantastic that this lady just said that. The judge may say that this exceeded the scope of what he allowed. That's a possibility, guys, but it's not something that I would weigh heavy on. That would just weigh on me for the next 2 months, where I'm like so worried about it, because all of these other things that we're talking about and the circumstances and what the officers knew, what they felt like was, if she was in immediate danger, it's all for the judge. It's all for the judge. So welcome. Good to see you, Lil Red Zero. Good to see you. All right. And then after this, we're going to talk about a quick clip that was on the other night about, does Jen Soto need to testify to prove the case? Do they really need her to prove the case? What are they going to use Jen Soto for? Is she going to be helpful? Is she going to crumble? Are they going to do a Wendy Adelson where they use her and maybe arrest her down the road? What's up, Bambi? Thank you for being a member for 2 months. Sweet 2 months, but been here longer. All right, let's keep going so we can get to the next part.
Would this be one of those cases, given that not only did he say it verbally, but he's apparently watching what she's looking at?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a terrible case. And so when you are defending a person like this, let's just talk about constitutional rights. And the reality is, no matter how horrible those pictures are, no matter how heinous it is what he allegedly did before he killed her, allegedly, it still is something that you have to protect the constitutional rights of everyone ever accused of a crime. And the fact of the matter is, without a warrant or without valid consent, you can't just look at people's things, including pictures on their phone.
That's exactly right. And I'm so glad you brought that up. So many times we look at the enormity of an offense and how graphic it is and how, just horrendous some of these murder cases are. But Lady Justice is blind, and the police, prosecutors, nobody can invade privacy without.
That's an interesting question, Goldie, because we still pose that question. Why were there tools being used that night? There was a hammer out there, and we speculate maybe another, maybe some kind of power tool. However, the only reason I would say maybe not cameras is because they also found the evidence of his phone being used under the door for the other roommate, Angelica. So if that's the case, then he was using phones most of the time with the tripod, and then cameras. I don't know about that. I don't know. That's a good question, but I'm not sure. What were the tools for? That's a good question. I don't know. And is Jen going to testify? Do we need her to testify? Do they need her? Does the state really need her?
The proper due process concerns being addressed, no matter what anybody is charged with and no matter what the facts are. And that's why it's so important that judges everywhere, and you know this from being on the bench, do everything they need to do to ensure the integrity of the evidence that's going to be relied on in the case. That's why we have hearings like this all of the time. If there's even an inkling that we need to make a record that due process concerns were afforded and were complied with. And that's what just happened here.
All right. It just like cut off, but that's fine. All right. And let's do this part. See that I think we'll have time for that today. This whole thing has a lot. What was on Stern's phone, but I do want to talk about Jen Soto needing to testify to prove the case. We'll go into more of this on Friday with you guys. Because we're going to have call-ins and talk about Jen Soto.
The case involving all these images.
All right. I'm also hoping that we get to see Grish. If you guys have not subscribed to Grish already, you guys should subscribe to him. He's a great content creator. Love it. All right. Nanoska says, if it's about protecting constitutional rights, why is TSA allowed to go through phones with no cause? And can certain you for refusing to give your PIN? I don't know about that. I have no idea. I never knew that TSA was allowed to go through your phone. I don't know. I have no idea. All right. All right, let's get to that. Let's talk about that. Let's switch gears for a second. Now, this is called What Was on Stern's Phone. I guess we can talk about that, but I really want to talk about Jen and if we think that they need her for the case. This is a great that's a pretty good episode. Let's see. I think she talks about it on here. Let me see. I'm going to start where she's in that little room. Let's start right here. Let's talk a little bit about that. So 22 minutes.
County. The medical examiner determined she had been strangled. Investigators quickly focused on Stearns, the boyfriend of Madeline's mother, Jen Soto. Evidence revealed that Stearns had been allegedly sexually abusing Madeline for years. He was charged with first-degree murder, capital sexual battery, and possession of child sexual abuse material. Stearns is currently in custody, awaiting trial, and could face the death penalty if convicted of Madeline's murder. Meanwhile, Madeline's mother has not been charged and may testify against Stearns. There are many disturbing.
And I do wonder, she's been very, very quiet. I wonder if she does testify, is that going to trigger a response for him to let things out that he hasn't talked about in the past? Because he has kind of hinted to Jen being, pushing Maddie onto him and other little things. And Jen's talked about the Woody Allen situation. So my dog's talking to me. All right. Perfect timing. Vinny looks like he has a cold right here. He sounds like it.
Facts connected to this case, and we've been talking a lot about them. But when you talk about the story and what happened to this 13-year-old and how this accused pedophile and murderer had access to this little girl over the course of years, when you talk about how he had access, you get to what is the one fact in all.
Now we know why he had access to her. Not only was Jen pushing Maddie on him, but she was high all the time, guys. I'm more and more convinced of that the more I hear about her and the stories I hear and pictures I see. Her eyes are she always looks like she's lit. It's like she didn't care what Maddie was doing or what was happening, but she did care enough about her biggest fear being Woody Allen, the Woody Allen situation. Who says that when their daughter is missing, that your biggest fear is that she's going to run off with your ex-boyfriend? She didn't even say that, right? She posed Stephan as a stepfather and a boyfriend, or sometimes they called husband, because she wanted that picture to look like that. All right. She wanted the picture to look like they were this happy little family, so nobody would look further.
All of this, and it's a fact. It's an admission. It's absolutely a fact in the case. I think that really gets people angry. Yeah. It gets people upset, and we have a difficult time understanding it. As a matter of fact, I believe that Stephan Stearns' own parents had difficulty understanding this fact. I want to play for you Jen Soto being questioned by police about the sleeping arrangements in their home, which has many bedrooms. I think it's 4 bedrooms. There are some people who rent rooms in this townhouse. But
don't you think they would like to have her testify to fill in some blanks? Otherwise, I wouldn't think they would have even done that queen for the day thing. So it's going to be interesting. I haven't seen witness list with her name. I've seen witness list with some things redacted. I mean, they even took depositions from Thomas Karras, the one that saw Stephan with the flat tire pulled over. So I don't see why they would take a deposition and possibly have him in court, but not Jen Soto. All right, unless it's going to hurt the case, unless she's going to be just all about Stephan. So it's going to be interesting to see what she says. I don't think that she's talked other than what we heard. Homemade everything. What's up, my friend? Jen is self-gratifying at anyone's expense. Unfortunately, she has no ability to truly love her daughter, right?
But there are a whole bunch of rooms and beds all over. But take a listen to Jen Soto describing the sleeping arrangements for her, Stephan Stearns, and her young daughter.
You guys are sleeping in the same bed together. You guys are all cohabitating. She's not sleeping in her room. But you felt the need to establish a rule that they couldn't sleep in the same room. But when you established that rule, for 3 years, she's already been dating him, essentially. Whether that's legal or not.
I had no idea. If I knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Like, I am willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the you want, but I don't know anything. He's never mentioned anything. I've never seen any signs. I tried watching her like a hawk. I thought I was doing a good job, but I wasn't.
And that's what I'm saying too. That's what I'm saying, that under those circumstances, they're going to have anybody and everybody testifying, taking depositions, and they're not going to have her. That just doesn't make sense. All right. It doesn't make sense that they won't. Again, I haven't seen her name on a witness list, but she can fill in a lot of blanks, guys, whether they're lies or not. I love that. I love that. She's too benzoed up to fill a polygraph. They should have done that. They should have given her a polygraph because it sometimes prompts them to tell the truth. All right. So they can't use it in court, but look at it did to Chris Watts. It made him sing like a bird.
I was oblivious to this everything. 4 years.
Minimum. Yeah. That's just how that far back the cloud goes. I find it hard to believe for me that you were so worried about how many pills she took at night.
So worried about how many pills. Look at her potato face. Where's Grish when we need him to throw some paper towels at her? Just throw paper towels at her.
But not where she slept or what relationship she was. His interest in her.
I thought we were all safe. I thought because than that he hadn't shown me anything so far. Like, everything seems fine. Like, he seems like he treated her like
he treats you.
That's a horrendous fact. Now, she hasn't been charged with anything, but she is allowing and at times instructing Stephan Stearns to go up to the bedroom alone with her daughter. But now we've got a case. We've got a case involving all these images found on Stephan Stearns' phone. She lives in the house. She's the mother of the victim, the ex-girlfriend of the defendant, which brings us to the next question in our investigation. Does Jen Soto need to testify to prove the case?
All right, and I just love hearing these things, and I know Grizzly or Gizla was on this. I have not seen this episode. I was going to save parts of it for discussion on Friday, along with talking about the corruption in Florida and law enforcement, and also the Soto ties in that community that the Sotos have, that Yolanda has. What's up, MM Clark? Good to see you, my friend. Love you. I hope you're doing well. Jen's family didn't know that Maddie and Stephan were sleeping together. That was a secret. Absolutely, it was. Absolutely. There's no way that Juan would have been there when Juan did live there. There's no way he would have been okay with, or any of them would have been okay with. Nobody was okay with Maddie sleeping with Stephan alone, or even all three of them in the bed. I mean, Deb said, hey, why are you guys doing that? She's too old for that. And that sounds like something that, a good parent would say. I know that when Christian was younger, my stepson, I think he was like 8, and we had to kick him out of the bed. We kept saying, like, you're getting too old for this. That's what somebody would say to somebody instead of, hey, go to bed. You're a teenager now. Go to bed with my ex-boyfriend that I'm not giving any sex to for years, right? Yeah, it is, Claire. It is. Welcome, Ryan. Good to see you. He says it was an emergency to get that phone. Stephan Stearns already destroyed some evidence on the factory reset. He might have recorded a red rum and was able to get rid of the evidence. There you go. And that's probably how Tagler saw it.
Do prosecutors have to call the mother to the witness stand to prove the case involving all the images that were found on that phone? Here with us, creator and host of the Grizzly True Crime YouTube channel, has been following this case, breaking news on it.
I love Gisela. She is one of the creators that doesn't like to collab, which kudos to her. She does not like to collab with YouTubers. But have you guys noticed that she's the new GHI? We don't say his name on there. Gray used to go on there all the time, and now they've got Grizzly on there. So I love it. I didn't even know they did this episode until I was looking for more information for this. And then I was like, oh, wow, she's on there again.
Gisela K is with us, and criminal defense attorney with experience in homicide, sexual assault, and child abuse. He's a former sex crimes prosecutor. Ken Ralph is with us as well. Gisela, first of all, do you believe that she will testify for the state, for prosecutors against Stephan Stearns?
That's the general consensus, but honestly, I think it's a little risky if the state will put her on the stand, because imagine the cross-examination. I mean, she could be an unreliable witness. She could really make the jury think, what's going on here? Because she's so sympathetic to Stephan Stearns. I don't know if it will be good for their case or not, but I think she's going to testify either way.
I think.
Okay, Ken, you know what it takes to prove a case like this. I want to put this up on the screen. I'm going to read parts of it. There's parts I'm not comfortable reading, but it has to do with the images and some of the identifying marks that are found in the images from his arrest warrant based on photos from his phone.
All right, and thank all of you guys. The Boo Crew, what's up? 436 watching and 436 likes. Good job, guys. If there were ever a time to give out a Foxy bauble, Foxy, just saying. All right. Thank you. Awesome. All right. God, she better not be. Oh my gosh. I wonder why Jen won't show her face. She won't show her face because so many people want her head on a stick. You guys, on a stick. I don't think she's going to be going to any mental hospitals to hide out. She, in my opinion, if she were there in the beginning, it was only for the 72-hour period, and then she was out. All right, Foxy could explain what a Foxy bauble is. Right, I just shipped out another shirt today. It was a little bit delayed. Sorry, Sadie's mama. Or was it yesterday? Yesterday I shipped it out. So yeah, I'm still trying to catch up, hoping for a tumbler. Well, Tiff, you could weigh in on that. Tiff likes to give tumblers away. All right. Yeah, I love the tumblers. I use it. It's like an adult sippy cup.
That investigators saw, the male sexual unit observed penetrating the victim had distinct marking on it, which consisted of bright pinkish colored skin below the top of this sexual unit. I'm using different words. I don't know. Until approximately a quarter of the length down.
He knows. Do you remember when Vinny first started covering this case? He was just like saying all the words, going all out. I'm kind of glad he does it because it really does give me nightmares. No matter how many times I look at this case and I read it, it just doesn't sit well. Thank you, Foxy. Foxy's going to give away a Foxy bauble at the end, which means you guys just have to hit that like button and comment so you can be put in there. It's a comment picker. Thank you, Sharon, for the $4.99 super sticker. You're so sweet all the time. All right, let's go. Don't give me nightmares. Please don't give me nightmares.
The rest of it. You can read it, folks. I'll give you a moment to read it to yourselves. So, Ken, if this is a case where the assault is being done, you don't see the face of the person committing the assault, but you see a part of their body, do you need someone like a girlfriend to identify that part of the body, to recognize it?
Vinny, generally
Yes.
speaking, this is really a need versus want question. And the prosecutor is probably going to start with the want part of that question. Do we want Madeline Soto to testify?
Jen Soto. Madeline's the victim.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Jen Soto, my error. Do I want Ms. Soto to testify?
That's how you know they didn't prep him for this interview. And that's why they get Grizzly True Crime. She does never mess up like that. All right, guys. You guys did fantastic. You got the likes up and all that. So Foxy Bobble it is, guys. Justice for Sweet Maddie. Yes, thank you. And welcome, Pinky Vlogs 2. Justice for Maddie. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for, not for nightmares.
And I think the answer to that question is no, for the reasons you pointed out earlier. She's sympathetic to the defendant, and she has really a lack of concern at some points for Madeline, her daughter, who is the victim in this case. So I think the prosecutor is going to take a look at the evidence, see, hey, can I prove these things through other means? Do I have other witnesses who could testify?
Well, I'll tell you,
facts?
he never. I don't believe we ever see his face. Let me ask Gisela. Gisela, is it clear or unclear? Because, we're obviously not going to see the images, but from the descriptions, is his face shown in any of these videos, or is he just videoing, himself below the
Yeah, we don't hear anything about that, but let's listen to Gisela. Again, she is the queen of documents. I love it. Yeah, Barb, not everyone is as into this case as us, but when we do get into this case, boy, it could give us nightmares. And very true. Whoever, if you guys wear glasses, that when you get cryy faced and upset, your glasses get foggy and all wet, and she didn't have that with her glasses. She didn't have that. I believe she was putting on the waterworks to try to get the officer to sympathize with her. At one point, I feel like she was almost flirting with officers. I mean, come on. Yeah, justice for Maddie. Sorry I paused it there, guys. I know.
The saggy midsection that we're looking at right now.
Actually, sometimes you see his face.
You do.
I think that is damning evidence. You do. You see his face and you hear his voice.
All right. So Ken.
Well, interesting. The voice, maybe, but the face. So I wonder how many videos. And I don't know. I've never seen paperwork that says that ever. So kudos. We definitely don't want to see the videos. Nobody wants to see that. And they won't be showing it in court openly, I'm sure.
Does that negate the need for her for an identification? Do you need to identify the victim in any way? Like you see her face, you'll see body parts that were described earlier in the program, but do you need the mother of the victim? Can you get a different relative to do it? How would you do that part of the case to ID the victim and the age of the victim in all of these videos?
Absolutely, Vinny. There's going to be you rattled off a whole number of issues right there. The prosecutor is going to go down that checklist and say, hey, do I have another witness who can testify to that? Is there a hearsay exception that gets something in? Is there physical evidence that supports this element? And to try to check off all those boxes. And if they can check off all those boxes that they need to prove without having Jen Soto to testify to those facts, I think they will not have her testify. There's too much baggage. As pointed out earlier, too many issues for cross-examination, questions about why wasn't she charged, questions about why she let this go on in the first place. And it seems like it would.
Yeah, he's certainly right on that. Even though she hasn't been arrested and they probably will get her on the stand, he's absolutely right. I don't know how hard prosecution is going to come, but they are certainly going to ask her those things as a mother. That's a lot of years, guys. That's a lot of years that was going on under her nose, so to speak. All right. Butterfly kisses. What's up, my friend? Yeah, just don't look, guys. Just don't look. They will bring the pediatrician who will examine the CSAM and the autopsy to determine her age. Huh. Why they need to determine her age? What? All right. What's up, Beast Ma? Everyone here listening, supporting our girl Jay. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. All right. Yeah, it does look like that when you hear about that, but that's got to be some kind of other surgery that happened, because there are things that look like it, unless it's just a birth thing. I thought that too. Absolutely. All right. Sure, damn victim blamed, right?
Would drag the case down in a way that's not necessary at all.
And Gisela, what Ken is just describing is every chat in every live stream probably that you've done about this case, right? Inevitably, the chat goes to Jen Soto. How could she do this? Why couldn't she do this? And I look at the folks in the chats on the live streams like jurors, right? This is where they naturally go.
Of course.
Yes, we're an international mock jury online. At least that's how I see it. And everybody's wondering, what is she going to say if she testifies for the state? Can you imagine? I think she's actually going to be a good defense witness. If they call her up, that'll be interesting. I'm surprised Stephan Stearns hasn't thrown her under the bus yet.
How about that, Ken? How about that? The defense calling her. Is there a way to if somehow make her the true villain in all of this, to try to mitigate the case in some strange way?
Your choice of
That's a good question. And he's like, your choice of words, make her a villain. That, I mean, I wish that Stephan would do that. Faith and repentance. Speaking of arresting Jen Soto, I really do wish. Now, I don't obviously want some reasonable doubt and them thinking that, it was all on Jen, but I would love for them to put information out there. And Stephan has to talk to his defense. It makes sense that he's not going to say anything now, as he shouldn't. You should never do that now. You got to have a strategy. But I really do hope that he does implicate her as much as she deserves. All right? Whatever it is. All right.
the word villain is an excellent one, Vinny, because every case needs a villain. And right now, the prosecution has the finger to point at the villain, and that's Stephan Stearns. Now, he'll if it gets to the point where he's putting on a defense case, it's going to be a point of desperation at that point, and he may very well have to put her on, Ms. Soto, that is, and start attacking her and suggesting that she was so permissive about everything that was going on and overlooked so many things that perhaps there's some alternative theory.
I mean, Val Ventura, I wish so too, but she was at such a young age when it started that she was being groomed. And then once she was groomed, it's like, I think maybe it turned into I'm getting attention from somebody loves me type of feeling. We really should look more into that Duck Groom book to go over what grooming looks like for children, just to have it out there for parents that don't always talk to their children and may see signs. That would be a really good episode. And I ask you as an audience, if anybody knows about the grooming process or about that would like to come on and speak with me and do an episode like grooming and what are the signs and all of the things, not just us speculating. That would be great. You guys can always email me at guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com and we can talk about that. All right. Yeah, that would be great. Let's do it, Low Red. I'd love to. We need to educate people
Of who did this. And remember, the defense doesn't have to prove any of these facts. They just have to create reasonable doubt.
And Gisela, in all of the images, there's never been a reference that there's a third person in the room. It's always just Stearns and Madeline.
I've never seen a reference to another person. So we all wonder that as well. They did check Jen Soto's phone, they checked Maddie's phone and Stephan Stearns' phone. So it seems like it's just him facing those charges.
And Ken, if she has not been charged to this point, do you think there's any chance that she gets charged that down the road for anything, whether it's related to the images or to the murder, if she to this day has not been charged or named as a suspect?
Well, I think it would seem highly unlikely that she would get charged after all this time. If there was any sort of agreement that she made, maybe that she was going to testify in lieu of getting charged, that would have to come out before the trial. But there's been no suggestion that that happened. It just seems.
I don't think it would have to come out before the trial, you guys. You're well aware of Wendy Adelson and that whole trial. If you don't know, go watch. I believe Grish has a bunch of videos on the Adelsons, and nobody had any idea that they were going to charge the mom and even Charlie. It took so many years. And Sharon, I'm so sorry for that. Anybody that has been a victim of CS, or SA. Sharon says, I was 5. By the age of 9, my mother was in full-blown jealous mode, not ever protecting her children. I feel like the same was similar for Maddie. Oh, all right. And maybe Kathy says maybe the abuse is generational and certain people don't want exposure to Jen's abuse. That would be awful, but it happens. Oh, Kathy, that happens all the time, girl. Look at Naziah. Look at the Naziah Harris case. It just continues. And we're side-eyeing the Keimani case as well.
Seems like the choice has been made not to charge her.
Yeah, and it seems every time we're asking folks down there, what are investigators saying about it, and whether it's on the record, off the record, it's always there is no evidence to suggest that she committed any crimes, or we don't have evidence that she committed a crime. So that's kind of where it stands. Big thank you, Gisela K, Grizzly True Crime. Check it out on YouTube in about 18 minutes after the show ends. And Ken Ralph always.
All right, so we're going to pull that. We've been here for an hour and a half, and I really wanted to talk about Maddie was missing. And when she was missing, we didn't know if she was alive, in danger, at a friend's house, or dead. So that's what happened. What happened. Did they need a search warrant? We heard Detective Tagler claiming Stephan handed it over and gave her permission. Now we're going to have the judge hear that. Okay, so right now we're going to give away a Foxy Bobble, you guys. Thank you for asking about the shirts. I don't have any more Jen Soto shirts. Maybe at some point we'll give some away. I had a Jen Soto shirt that was printed for me, and I gave it away in a giveaway. As far as the Maddie shirts go, we've never carried those. We've never sold those. Tiff was a doll and printed them for me. And when she printed them for me, I showed them. I was asked not to sell them, and so I gave them all away. So that's that. And we're doing giveaways pretty often. We're going to do one right now. All right. So guys, if you want to email me something, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, just for anything you want to talk about. And otherwise, we're going to do this giveaway right now. Hopefully you guys are here. If not, you'll hear it later and maybe come back and claim your prize. All right. Hopefully you're here. All right. What do you guys need? I see people saying I want, whatever. Yeah, I can't keep up with it, but I'm going to give it away real quick. Wild Wanderer, you have a wonderful day. Goldie says just saying, I don't know. I can't keep up with chat. Let's go. All right. Does it to me every time. All right. Did it go back? And let's go. All right. Continue. Gotta love the giveaways. All right. Who's going to win a Foxy Bobble? Now, Foxy has great things. Again, you can't buy them. So it's pretty cool that you have to win something. What's up, Tiff? Tiff's in the house. I feel like this is a buy. Carolina Hurtado. How you doing, my friend? Carolina Hurtado. Thank you. Thank you for always being here. Carolina, I hope you're in the house. Go ahead and email. Now, is Carolina in? Yeah, it's US only. We got to say that because we can't afford to ship all these things out of the United States. We donate a lot of time here and items. So Carolina, are you in the United States? You probably are. If you are, then go ahead and email guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. Is that right? Guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. Yeah, and I'm sorry, guys, for those of you that are in Canada. Man, it's so expensive. All right, Lucky says, yes, and the kids, we had to put a lot of pressure. My questions are upset. Why, Maddie? Okay, you guys are having conversations. So there it is. Carolina Hurtado, congratulations. Guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. Tiff, I'm sorry you missed tonight, but maybe Friday we can do a giveaway. I'm glad you made it. Thank you. Tiff is our merch person. She's our merch lady. And Tiff does a great job, not only making merch, but it's great merch, great priced, and she's awesome. She's always giving stuff away. So, yeah, thank you. Carolina, you're a regular. I'm sure you'll hear. There you go. Guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. There you go. I love you guys. You won. Thank you guys for making Guilty of Crime. Guilty of Crime. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. Good night, everybody. I will see you for Corey Michelo's birthday tomorrow, okay? It would be his birthday on this planet, on Earth, if Christopher Greger wouldn't have been so selfish and taken his life. We're going to be on tomorrow with Toddy 1 and Rebecca Michelo, all right? I don't think Bree's going to join us, although Brianna Michelo is welcome to join us. You guys come tomorrow night for the letter for Christopher Greger in prison, and we're going to talk about Corey Michelo. All right, good night, everybody. I love you. I will see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. with Toddy and Rebecca. Thank you. Have a good night.
Guilty of Crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of Crime.
Are you guilty